You know, some stories are just about football, but this one's about a fight. It's the story of a kid from Brazil who didn't just become a king in Madrid, but a voice for justice all around the world. We're not just talking about goals and trophies here. We're talking about a true epic. So let's get into the incredible story of Vinicius Júnior. And right there, that quote, that's the core of who he is. When he's on the pitch, that joy you see, the dancing, it's more than a celebration. It's an act of defiance, a celebration of his roots, his skill. And then off the pitch, that same fire is channeled into a battle that's going to define his legacy just as much as any goal he'll ever score. That's the undefeated spirit we're going to dig into. Every great story has a beginning, and for Vini, that was São Gonçalo, a city right near Rio de Janeiro. He came from a poor family, but his talent, well, that was his ticket out. And his destination was the legendary club Flamengo. Okay, look at the timeline here. This is what's so wild, the speed of it all. At 6 years old, he's just playing at a local school. 4 years later, boom, he's in the official Flamengo Academy. And then, at just 16, he's making his professional debut for one of the biggest clubs in all of Brazil. A few months after that, he bags his first pro goal. I mean, that's not just fast, that's absolutely meteoric. And of course, the whole world was watching. Real Madrid, arguably the biggest club on the planet, paid this absolutely staggering fee for him before he was even 18 years old. That was a record in Brazil for a player under 19. Just try to imagine that kind of pressure. You're a teenager, and you've got a $46 million price tag hanging over your head. So, with the weight of that massive transfer fee on his shoulders, he lands in Spain, the Bernabéu's new hope. But man, that transition was not easy. The speed of the game, the physicality, and just the relentless, non-stop pressure of playing for Madrid, it was a whole new universe, and those first years were a real trial by fire. See, Vinny had this electrifying pace and, honestly, unbelievable dribbling skills. He could beat pretty much any defender you put in front of him. But early on, all the critics kept pointing to one thing, a lack of end product. He could create all this chaos, but that final shot or that killer pass, it just wasn't quite there yet. The potential was blindingly obvious, but the results weren't following. All right, this right here, this is the turning point. Just look at that jump. It's insane. In his first 3 seasons combined, he gets 15 goals and 15 assists. Not bad for a young player, right? But then, look at the 2021-22 season. In 1 year, he explodes for 22 goals and 20 assists. See, the point isn't just that he got better, he completely transformed. He went from a kid with potential to an absolutely world-class, game-winning attacker. And once he found that end product, everything changed. Vinny went from being a supporting player to the main event. He started showing up in the biggest moments, on the biggest stages, and began carving his name right into the club's history books. So let's just set the scene for a second. It's the UEFA Champions League final, the biggest prize in club football. Real Madrid is facing off against Liverpool, an entire season's work, all coming down to this one single night in Paris. And then, in the 59th minute, he delivered. It was a perfect ghosting run to the back post and a tap-in that was heard all around the world. It was the only goal of the match. Vini Jr. had just won the Champions League for Real Madrid. The kid from São Gonçalo was now a champion of Europe. And the club absolutely recognized his new status. They handed him the number 7 jersey, a shirt made legendary by icons like Cristiano Ronaldo and Raul. It was more than just a number change. It was a symbolic passing of the torch. He was the guy now. And just to prove that first time was no fluke, he found himself in another Champions League final, this time against Borussia Dortmund. And what happens? In the clutch moments, he scores again, sealing a 2-0 win. This guy is just built differently. He's built for the biggest moments. This puts him in some seriously elite company. At just 23 years old, he became the youngest player to score in 2 separate Champions League finals. Do you know whose record he broke? Lionel Messi's. This right here, this cements his place among the all-time greats. But here's the thing about Vinny's story. It's really defined by 2 huge battles. One is for trophies on the football pitch. The other is a much, much uglier one, against racism in the stands. And this is where a star player became a truly courageous global leader. It's a sad reality that as his story got brighter, the hate got louder. His celebrations, his dancing, his very presence on the pitch seemed to trigger this disgusting wave of racist abuse from opposing fans all across Spain. And we need to be crystal clear about how bad this got. This wasn't just a few isolated incidents here and there. No, we're talking about constant, targeted racist chants from the stands. There was even a horrific effigy of him hung from a bridge. I mean, can you imagine? And over 26 officially reported incidents since 2021. This was a relentless, disgusting campaign of hate. But instead of letting them silence him, he got louder. He just refused to play through it. And this quote, which he actually has tattooed on his body, it basically became his mission statement. He decided he was going to fight back, not just for himself, but for every single person who would come after him. And his stand created actual tangible change. It wasn't just a bunch of hashtags. The whole world responded. FIFA actually put him in charge of a new anti-racism committee. And back home in Brazil, they passed a real law in his name, the Vini Júnior law, that can stop games because of racist acts. His incredible courage turned all that abuse into real action. And so that's how his legacy has been forged in two different arenas. The one on the pitch, where he became a champion, and the one in society, where he became a revolutionary. I mean, just look at this list of awards. On one hand, you've got the best FIFA men's player, recognizing him as the top footballer on the planet. And then right next to it, you've got the Socrates Award, given for his incredible humanitarian work and his fight for social justice. It's amazing. He's being honored for both his incredible skill and his incredible character. And the work he's doing off the pitch is just as impressive. He started his own institute to help improve education for kids back in Brazil. He's a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador. He is using his massive global platform to create real, lasting change in the world. So that leaves us with this big question, right? The guy has already achieved more than most players do in their entire careers. And he's still so young. What's his true legacy gonna be? Will people remember him for the trophies, the incredible goals, and that infectious joy he plays with? Or will it be for his incredible courage, the way he stood up, challenged an entire system, and kicked off a global movement? You know, maybe his real undefeated legacy is that we'll never have to separate the two.